And welcome back. Little sister has done her work, so let her go.
Thank you.
Got another innocent life for Paikka Tenenbaum to save. I think that the designers of BioShock really hit the emotional home when it was a matter of little sisters. Oh, well, yeah. More Eve, more health. More Eve, more health, and a and an armor to make already tough Big Daddy into even more big, powerful. So now to head inside the actual location.
Hell. The maglock door's still active. It's regulated by the resistors plugged into that relay. If you can find a way to yank them out, magnets fail, doors open. There's a plasmid that could do the job. They called it gravity well.
Alright. So now I have to go and get myself...
According to the Thinker's records, the Airtight Archives warehouse supervisor had a shot of gravity well on hand. Getting into the Archives warehouse, that'll be the fun part.
Airtight Archives.
The door to the Archives is shorted out. I'd check the McClendon Robotics workshops for a shot of Electrobolt.
Alright, so it would be a matter of robotics now. Quite simple instructional list of things to do.
Another malfunctioning door control? Your hack tool should get you into McClendon Robotics.
Yep, and it did.
In Minerva's den.
Of course, it might have been possible that I could have do this earlier, but there's... Yeah. Not particularly awake, I would say, about that splicer, but then again, splicers are not in good shape, mentally or physically. Although physically you could say that they might be beyond great shape because of all the splicing they do. But I would still wonder, what kind of material is the Rapture made of? Because if it was built at the bottom of Atlantic Ocean, it's several kilometers deep. That's a huge amount of pressure there, and there's... Alright, I guess I made to get the alarm. Well, what I do find interesting is still that the BioShock has both male and female splicer models. It's not just male men or women who are become insane drug monsters because of the...
I guess sometimes a cloud of lead just ain't enough. Today I
assigned for a shipment of those new bot models from McClendon. One variety tosses lightning bolts and the other fires a swarm of rockets. I understand we got some sensitive info bouncing around the mainframe, but brother, these guys ever heard of overkill?
Oh, I know that you're playing at the lowest or the easiest difficulty, you could say, or easiest is kind of tends to make these games less challenging. Of course, that's the very idea of the adjustable difficulty levels. Of course, in some games, adjustable difficulty levels don't mean anything if the difficulty comes from something which is not. I was saying that if the difficulty comes from something that the difficulty does not adjust. For example, if difficulty affects enemy damage and how much damage you give and take, but the most difficulty of the game is platforming, then the lighter difficulty doesn't mean anything. Table bot, where might be? You look like a scholar. Now you look dead. And just to be friendly, there ain't many people alive in Rapture who can have any kind of, you could say, ability to judge sanity or not sanity. Let's check the yeah. Location is Rapture is, well, the state it's in makes it a bit of a maze. And of course in a place like the underwater city, the architecture might have had all kinds of kinks of its own. Not necessarily that kind of kinks that normal cities would have. Completely understandable. Ryan wasn't particularly, you could say, well, you might have said that maybe he might have had ideals, but they really didn't mesh well with reality because there was no any kind of compromise but that he made. Spider got shot to the balls. To the workshop. Oh yeah. Missed. Getting quite a lot of equipment. Yep, you go down. And you join my fray. And there's no reason not to make use of the resources you have. Hoarding them for just in case is not a good idea in at least in Minerva's den. Oh. Oh, damn, that's creepy. Looks like some sort of doll version of Little Sisters. It was.
Robotic little sisters. Robotic little sisters. Sure, Mr. Ryan, we'll take that contract. Sure, yeah, we'll front all the R&D costs, no problem. And when the big daddies ignore the little robot girls and all your fancy field tests, hell, what are we gonna do with all the full production run of these useless things?
Yeah, not that good idea seemed to be, but at least it showed that there was some kind of attempt to improve what was already there. Yeah, Big Daddy Guardians, they would have needed a robotic Guardians as well, which is to say, Big Daddies. They are all quite.
Pearl's death opened up a kind of hole in my mind. But eventually I got around to reflecting on Alan and his intelligence test for machines. I remember grinning about the idea that I could beat it. Design a machine capable of replicating Turing himself. And wouldn't that show the old man? But then suddenly I realized I wasn't really thinking about replicating Alan at all. I was thinking about Pearl.
Interestingly enough, judging by the face of Charles Porter, he's black. Of course, that doesn't some person's tone of their skin doesn't imply anything about their intelligence or competence.
The Thinker's independent reasoning processor has been running for several months now. Standardized intelligence test scores continue to rise, beginning daily.
Oh yeah, and I found the electric
Your
bolt.
enemies with 1,000 volts. Shock in water for an extra charge.
Voice synthesis test. Good morning, Thinker. How are you?
Acceptable. Request to continue most recent conversation topic. Pearl Porter.
Oh, my late wife. Yes, I'd love to tell you all about her. I have a number of old audio recordings we made together that you could listen to, if you'd like.
Acceptable. Begin input of data regarding Pearl Porter.
You took the words right out of my mouth, friend.
I think there might be a time to break this recording when I take care of the Lancer Big Daddy. That was a little bit of gathering. Time to go forward. Oh yeah. Splicer remains.
How does it feel to know that your grand purpose is foretold by a machine? The numbers know already what will happen. As I tell you this, will it affect the outcome? I'm not so much holding my breath.
Alright, that would be some kind of oh, that was kind of cute and creepy at the same time, which is kind of understandable, you know, in how the Little Sisters are designed. They were designed to be, at least as BioShock 2, to look way less creepy than they were in the original one, even though they still are quite spooky. They at least have, well, it can be understood easily why the Little Sisters of BioShock 2 are designed better, and look like it's time to gather some more of the drugs. Cutting it is off. Now that was a little bit of drugs gathered. Time to leave.
Central computing is the best choice for your company's computing needs. Why, the Thinker even does some thinking for Ryan Industries.
Yep. And let's let the little sister go home.
Thank you.
Go home. Let her go home. Although I might guess that she might not have home. Horrifying it might be to think about the condition of Rapture. Most likely her little sister's parents have become splicers and killed long time ago. Oh, but there's the airtight. Oh,
One good zap from that electrobolt plasmid should get you into the archives.
and it does. There's the camera. Oh. Alright, alright, now that one's made friendly.
Dear Dr. Lamb, I received the invitation to your little social club today. In return, I'd like to make you a wager. I wager you need Rapture Central Computing just a little bit more than I need your half-baked metaphysical mumbo-jumbo. Ideal in science, not whatever it is you're up to. You keep out of Minerva's den, and I'll keep this city's automation from grinding to a complete and sudden halt. Sound fair?
I would say that that might have... well, sounds like Mr. Porter wasn't very keen on Sophia Lamb's personal little attempt of coup d'etat. Or is it coup d'etat? Well, it's a French term of French term for about, yeah, hostile taking over the country or government thing, which was Atlas's plan, and it worked. And then it blew on his face. So I would say that Charles Porter's plan of just not being particularly keen on the whole brewing civil war thing might have been one of the more rational ones. Things seem to have done.
A pair of thugs came into the archives today and started calling up codes from all over Rapture. People's private possessions, just rifling through them. Said they were Ryan security, that they were doing maintenance on the pneumatic system. Maintenance? Huh. Isn't the point of the archives to keep your things safe from prying eyes?
For some reason, this kind of unauthorized people ruffling through their people's private information in archive is way too, you could say, contemporarily noticeable than it should be. New accounts. Heading towards this place. Yep, I'm gonna... hacking that thing just solves the... yeah, all kinds of brand kinds of booze around here. Most likely somebody's guzzling it a lot. In conditions of rapture, I don't blame them. The place is already, before it went into complete massive Civil War death trap hellscape, was something that only some sort of hyper stress tolerant people might be capable of surviving or keeping their sanity intact or relatively intact. Oh yeah. UH mumbo jumbo. Transporter didn't particularly like land and wasn't most likely too keen on Ryan either, although he did join Ryan in Rapture, so he might have had some sort of ideas. Maybe the fact that Andrew Ryan wasn't particularly bigoted. He was.
I have begun testing a new approach to the splicing sickness problem. Adam remembers, you see. The method uses the Adam's own recall of past cell configurations to revert each of the patient's genetic changes. With one final dose, we return the patient to his former self. It is only theory. The number of potential bonding sites for even a single test is innumerable, and I cannot calculate alone. But I have heard of an adding machine at the heart of the city, beyond the capability of any device the world has known. Perhaps, if I could harness its power.
Yeah. Dr. Tenenbaum figured out a way to... Oh, I'm gonna say Dr. Tenenbaum has a way to... Well, Dr. Tenenbaum figured out that Adam is the source of a problem, over the same Adam is a solution as well as...
Why?
Adam is a solution as well as it's the problem. Which, well, quite often is, well, I don't think it is not particularly yep.
Sure, you hear it in Rapture. One of the business types asked me, why don't you splice white? Get ahead. Well, that's some idiocy. I told him, first of all, I am ahead. Second, in Rapture, it's your work that's supposed to matter, not your skin. Too bad for some folks who can't splice in common sense.
Yeah, that was actually kind of... Well, that was Ryan's fancy idealism that, yeah, it's not your skin color which matters in Rapture. Although, in practical sense, I don't think he could, it was worked that well. But at least there might have been at least some, you might say, attempt to it. And it seems to have somewhat worked. But somewhat is not enough. Let's see. What the here was nothing in here. Warehouse. Oh, yep, and that's gonna be quite simple method of Aim to the head. And knowing the state, splicers are mentally putting a bullet into one's head. Is more or less a mercy to them.
Continuing input of audio data into the Thinker's database. Subject, Pearl Porter.
Closer now into the recorder.
I don't know what to say, Milton. This is Mrs. Pearl Porter speaking.
That's the way.
And I'm recording this message with my brilliant husband, whom I love very much. And, I am so looking forward to seeing London.
That wasn't so hard, now was it? Won't you be glad that we have these to listen to when we're old and gray?
Yeah. And interestingly enough, mention of the two Porter's mention about Alan Turing means that he worked at the don't remember the exact name, but he worked at the Bletchley Park. He worked at code breaking during World War II. Improve the also look for plasmids. Well, I think the gene tonics, are more important and useful and necessary than plasmids. Yep, and I got a different kind of weapon.
I'm just doing my job. And these pencil necks ain't conducting themselves in a way that'll make it go easy for them. Mr. Ryan needs to keep an eye on what certain subversives got circulating in the archives. That's just the way it is. These pinkos think the bandits are just gonna play nice? Send their plans to the Central Council with a bow on top? When it comes to Mr. Ryan, you're either with him or you ain't. Get used to it.
And of course, seems like there was some level of avoidance about all kinds of craziness which might be going on around in this place. But I hope the plasmid is here. Well, there's open. There was nothing, just... but here it is! Gravity well, which is not exactly what I
Clear a
need.
room of clutter, or your enemies. Watch them try to resist the pull of gravity well.
The Thinker knows what you're going to do with that, and it isn't happy.
Well, I am quite sure of that, and it's time to actually end this episode right here. See ya next time, whenever it happens to be. See ya.